Looks like Lord Windgrace has a dirty litter box.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello everybody and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian and today I'm playing Soul of Windgrace. This is the cat who sees lands in the graveyard and brings them back when he enters the battlefield or attacks. That's really great when it comes to lands that sacrifice themselves or self-mill, or just any other way you happen to get lands into graveyards, like land destruction, which is a tiny bit in this deck. Typically, Soul of Windgrace is either a land destruction deck, general kind of tempo-y control deck, or, in this case, a big Jund creatures deck. Because what's more fun than big Jund creatures? Soul of Windgrace helps you ramp through that ability, and he's actually been recently buffed for Arena. It used to be that you'd have to pay 1 mana to gain 3 life, 2 mana to discard and draw a card, and then 3 to gain Indestructible. But now each of those abilities is only 1 mana in discarding a land, which is pretty nice. It means that he's a much more flexible card once he's on the battlefield. And this deck is also fairly flexible since it's got a good combination of the powerful Golgari removal and the big great creatures we have in green, and a couple fun pieces that happen to put things into graveyard or just get you a ton of value like Reach the Multiverse and Atali. Soul of Windgrace also has one nasty little bit of synergy. There are lands that destroy other lands, like Not Bold Slumber Mound or Memorial to War. If you happen to have one of those and enough mana to activate it, you can take out your opponent's lands one at a time by recurring these from your graveyard and attacking in with Windgrace to use them, bring them back, and use them and bring them back. It's a real rude thing you can do to your opponents, but it's a strategy that really does work well with Soul of Windgrace and how he happens to be formatted. So we're going to take Soul of Windgrace into the queue, and we're gonna Jund him out. Nicol Bolas, God, Pharaoh. Hey Nicky B, how you doing? Here to do some crime? I would expect nothing less. So this hand's a little awkward for me because I don't have all my colors. So I'd love to grab a shock land here, just go for Inquisition of Kozilek on turn 1. I think it's better to do it on turn 2 though, so I have at least all 3 colors available to me through something or another. Ah, perfect! I got some ramp/fixing for the next turn. The Springbloom Dryad. I could take out their turn 2 play. I'm gonna hit Black Market Connections instead. And I'm happy to say, this is a crime deck. Crime cards, crime cards. Nicol Bolas, who steals the cards straight from your deck. Let's grab ourselves 1 red and 1 black. That gives me double black for Liliana. It gives me all 4 colors, all 3 colors and all 4 mana for Soul of Windgrace. And there's now lands in my graveyard to bring back. This is great for me. Got a ramp. I could take this turn to tear asunder something. Vraska minus. We ramp. Soul of Windgrace. Grab me the Windswept Heath or Snow-Covered Forest. I'm just gonna grab the Snow-Covered Forest here. I don't really feel like I need to thin my deck or get any more dual lands, and this way I don't have to pay any more life to grab more lands off Primeval Titan next turn. Nicol Bolas, the Ravager! I will drop Vraska Golgari Queen. I've still got 2 mana up. I'm going to use a Liliana instead of the planned Primeval Titan here. So I can get rid of Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Then, thank you for the 67-month resub.
So close to the nice anniversary.
And we're going to use Terror Sunder to take out the Celestus. This is to keep them away from 7 mana next turn, so they're less likely to be able to play the big, scary Nicol Bolas. Oh my god, you're almost at 69 months. Amazing. Ashiok can plus to make a Nightmare, can minus to bounce something and make me exile something from my hand. So we're going to put this into my hand, and then I am going to exile it from my hand to put it into the command zone. Hanatoshan, they give it a 2-month resub. Is it time for Atali or prime time? I think it's Atali time. I'll grab a fancy little shock land here. One with some extra red, just in case we need it. Atali! Do some crime. I wish you could play Atali in Nicol Bolas, but you can't. Oh, Hostage Taker and Lotus Cobra. Take that Mind Stone. And the Spring Plume Dryad can do a grand total of 1 damage. I'll drop my Tireless Tracker too.
You won't be outsmarting me.
Now that we have extreme landfall payoff. I don't need extra landfall payoff. I don't need card advantage. I've got Natali. And also, we've won the game. GG, Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. Well, here, let me try again. Kroxa, our opponent's commander, makes us discard when he enters the battlefield, and he can escape. Ooh, spooky. We have a really nice start here, since we can go Delighted Halfling on turn 1 to Spelunking on turn 2. We're going to bring in these Overgrown Tome. We click, it enters tapped. We say it enters tapped, and then it enters untapped, so we can Inquisition of Kozilek, see what they've got in their hand, Altar of Dementia, Crucius, Chromatic Sphere, and Abrade. I think Crucius is going to be my hit here. Though the Altar of Dementia, sacrificing Kroxa when it comes out, is the easiest way to just kind of say, like, oh yeah, I'll just sacrifice it, and then I'll have enough to make it escape once we get 6 mana. Altar of Dementia, that's exactly what they want to do. I mean, that's good enough for me. Sad that there's no lands yet in the graveyard, but I don't need that. Let's go for Oracle of Moldiah, see if there's any lands on top of my deck. There are not. Play my snow-covered Schwamp. I love untap lands, yeah. Spelunking is a cool new addition to a lot of these lands-based decks, since Lord Windgrace typically would bring in a land tapped. Now you can use them right away. Super Ramp! Ooh, do you want to hit my heart? Or my edict? You hit the edict here. And now is it time for the Kroxa Super Self-Mill? Aww, they killed my Oracle. Now what am I supposed to do? Play a sad little Soul of Windgrace? With no lands to bring back? They'll probably mill land off the altar. We can use on attack. They mill themselves. If you have a Chromatic Lantern or a Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which I actually just took out of this deck, you can tap the trigger sack lands before they sacrifice to get an additional mana, but it happens like during combat if it's the attack trigger. What are my thoughts on Zurgo and Ojutai as a commander? Do you like tempo? I don't like the play patterns that deck provides, though I do think that it's kind of cool. So we have our a land in hand here. I guess I can attack with this halfling. Look, we have choices. I'm going to choose the Bajuka Bog. I know this exiles the other lands out of their graveyard, but it also exiles the Kroxa out of their graveyard. Yeah, you're the one who put the Bajuka Bog in your deck. Okay, good game. Myth Weaver Poq, a very powerful card that can double your lands. Yikes. Seriously, it doubles the lands when I enter the battlefield. We have the disadvantage here of going second, but we have some really nice cards available to us. I have to choose, since I don't have anything to really ramp into on turn 2, it's like, do I want to get the Scoot Swarm out? Maybe. The Scoot Swarms can make the insect tokens, which can chump block Poq, who also gets bigger until they give him trample through some means or another. Being able to bind him when he maybe comes out next turn could be good. I'll play a bug. How many games against Lord Windgrace? Of Lord Windgrace have you missed? like an hour. Before I started recording, I just kept playing the Lord Windgrace deck because it's really fun. I made some extra tweaks to the deck, took some cards in, took some cards out. Oh, they are playing Poq without having something to trigger him. Goodbye, Myth Weaver Poq. They may have had this early ramp of the Into the North on turn 2, but you know what we have? Finding the Old Gods, which next turn will ramp for me too. That's the goods right there. They're going to ramp. This is going to get them a 5-drop in hand, which I'm actually going to guess is Vorinclex. It is one of the best just, like, lands getting 5 drops. There's some other ones, but that one's very common. Let's grab the Triumph, since it will always come in tapped, unless we have, like, Spelunking out. Do I feel like going for Soul of Windgrace? I mean, sort of Fortune Frontier actually seems way more awesome. So I'm going to do that. We're going to get out the sword. Notably, it also gives protection from a certain color. And also lets me ramp. Go, my sweet bugs. Get to play an extra land. The Baleful Mastery will just go away. That's fine. That's my 6th land, so now the scoots are scootin'. They've got 6 mana. It could be Poq time. No, it's Vorinclex. Hey, remember how I said they probably got Vorinclex? Here's Vorinclex. With Reach. Gets them 2 forests. They don't have to be basic forests. They just have to say forest somewhere on them. And, well, I guess in their type line. Can flip over to mill, to get creatures, to buff up your board, and make things fight. Alright, well, my little bugs now have Death Touch. I'm feeling... I want to crack this open. I'm just gonna grab a basic. We got plenty of stuff going on in here. I don't need anything too fancy. Just need a couple scoots. Couple bugs on the battlefield. Oops. The damage is all dealt. Oh, Anissa. Unfortunately, our Blossoming Torque is going to be gone forever. That's just fine. You know what green's not that good at? Wiping the board. It's not. Not when you have a lethal number of bugaboos on the battlefield. GG. Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty. You know what she likes to do? She likes to ramp. And in true Simic style, she does so with Cascade, casting spells for free when you cast her or another spell of mana value 6 or greater. This means that they usually cascade into a ramp, so they get more ramp to more ramp to more ramp to the big scary threats that happen to be in this game. We go first. We don't have a hand with a lot of ramp until we get to this Provisioner and some landfall, but I do have some good pieces of removal here, which I like. I like removal. Oh, Cold Steel Heart. Elspeth's Nightmare will take out this Grazer. In the next turn, let me hit a non-creature card from their hand. Put it in the graveyard and then exile their graveyard. They got a Somberwald Sage. This traps for 3 mana, but only for creatures. Alright, I am happy to hit Karn's Temporal Sundering out of their hand. There are currently no lands in the graveyard, but I still want Soul of Windgrace out because it's a really good blocker, and I see that they have that Toski there. That's why I didn't play Provisioner, even though it's great. We also have this Henge next turn as a potential play. Ooh, I guess I should have gone for the Stomping Ground, since then I wouldn't have to play, like, this land first. Miss out on a trigger. Loads of lands. Modi doesn't want to swing in, though. And there goes that extra turn card from their graveyard. Great Henge. Tireless Provisioner with a +1/+1 counter and some card draw. Ooh. There's not currently a land in the graveyard, but there will be soon. We also don't want to attack in there because they have an indestructible blocker. They have so much mana, but it's all about what they happen to draw or top deck. I see. They want to recast a Modi to try and find more pieces. I will let them do that. Make sure you tap that Sage first. And Emody cascades into probably more ramp. No, Cyclonic Rift. They can bounce something like that Henge back into my hand. That's fair. Now I can't Casualties of War you so hard. Dang. Okay, more ramp. Great Henge. I'm going to discard this to draw. Attack in with Soul of Windgrace. Bring that right back. Make a treasure. And I'll hold my removal. Like somebody wants to be casting a Modi again. I can also just give them the land. I'll let them have the land. I might even kill it since I have all this beautiful removal. See if they cast anything. Oh, it's Kiora. That dies beautifully to a Casualties of War. Ooh, do I want this Tort first? Yes, I do. Tort it up! See if we can put a land in the graveyard. Ah, a land! Brings it back, gets me a treasure, Casualties of War, artifact, creature, enchantment, land, and planeswalker. Artifact. Creature. Enchantment, land, planeswalker. More modes, more fun! Oh, if I had targeted one of their actual lands, Soul Windgrace would be ramping more. Yeah, it's a little bit of value. Love that for us. They're stealing my commander! And ramping more. Okay, Soul of Windgrace. This has to attack. He can block. I will say, I don't really mind. Scoot Bug. Landfall. Love a good landfall trigger into a landfall trigger into a landfall trigger into a landfall trigger into a landfall trigger. Yeah, I had fun. I had fun. Myth Weaver Poq. Again, this is a very popular commander because it's really good mono green ramp. Seriously, the land doubling, the getting the bigger, kind of wild. But we have turn 1 ramp, and I love a little bit of turn 1 ramp. This is not a land for me to put into play, which is a little awkward for spelunking. I have to decide if I want to spelunk this turn. I'll do it. I'm gonna look for a land. Boom, perfect. I mean, it enters untapped anyway, spelunking. Now they're getting some serious ramp. Utopia Sprawl, Elvish Mystic. Look at all those goodies. Well, you know who else knows how to ramp? It's me. My Poq. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what happened there, it can't make a copy of this because it's actually a sorcery permanent. Which, yeah, weird, I know. Bringing out Nissa. We're going to use this to grab a permanent red source. We're going to get a lot of landfall triggers. Grab a mountain. Green. Black. Green. And these are all coming in untapped thanks to spelunking. It's Holly! Spelunking is so nice in a lot of these decks. And we got ourselves a Ramen Up Excavator and Settle the Wilds, which is going to get me a 7-drop. Atali's a 7-drop. I'm not sure what else I have. I don't have another 7-drop. Okay, that's totally fair. I will play Vine Soul Spider since I don't really feel like I need to ramp on Cold Steel Heart. Like, if I want to flip Atali next turn, I can. My Poq, attack their Poq! Okay, if they wanted to, they could have cracked the Fabled Passage. Ashaya with Poq is broken. In fact, it's so broken that if you have an Ashaya on the battlefield and you play Poq, well, you end up locking the game into a permanent loop of creating Poqs and sacrificing Poqs. It's not good. Ooh, I think we just flipped the Atali. Soul of Windgrace is like, wait, what about me? Give me a minute. We'll have enough for you too. Let me get all these basics out of my deck first. Windgrace. Soul of. They already took all these out of their graveyard, but we got plenty in ours. Cab Ready Courtyard gets me more triggers. Also, dang, look at Poq go. Flip it up. Looking good. So Poq, by the way, can become a 11/11 off sacrificing a Fabled Passage here. This is me saying you gotta block this, though. Indestructible and deals poison. If you block, this dies, but you don't. The Elvish Mystic isn't big enough to block and prevent that. Another Poq defeated. By, well, having early ramp. Early ramp wins games! Sidisi Brood Tyrant. When she enters the battlefield or attacks, she mills. And if she happens to see a creature put into the deck, or put from the deck into the graveyard from her ability or another ability, well, she goes a little wild. She goes and gets herself a zombie. It's pretty nice. 2/2 zombies. Something also kind of nice is that means they're going to be putting beautiful, beautiful lands in their graveyard for us to take. Windswept Heath, I'm just going to grab the Triumph because I don't feel like waiting. My hand is a little slow, but I feel that against the Sidisi deck, it's okay for my hand to be a little slow, playing the Fable the Mirror Breaker on 3, and then Soul of Windgrace on 4. I wonder how many of just the same cards our decks are running. Because we have a lot of stuff that, like, Old Rutstein is here to put things in the graveyard. Aw, Locthwain enters tapped. No Sidisis? No Sidisis. I know that feeling. Castle Lochtwain needs to see a swamp. No swamps, no problem. I could go for Nissa over Fable here. Since they probably want to play their commander next turn. Oh, they don't have blue mana. They would need to get a treasure. I'm going to go for Nissa. I'm being asked, what do I write down between games? I write down who I played against, like the username. Usually like a shorthand for the commander. Like I'll write down just Sidisi, not the Sidisi Brood Tyrant. And if I won, if I lost, if anything interested happened, any editing notes. I try to make it really easy for me to edit these videos together. No! Well, at least there's lands in their graveyard. Oh, God, there's a hoof in their graveyard, too. This is fine. It's very fine. Polluted Delta. Let's get a lot of mana. Like a lot of mana. Let's grab a basic. It's prime time, baby! Since we've already got some lands in graveyard, I'm very heavily considering Bojuka-bogging them. I believe I have Bojuka-bog in this deck. I just have to find it. Do I not? It is so hard to see anything here. Alright, well then I guess I'll just grab a duel. Boop. Curse you, Bojuki-bogs. I'm one short of playing that henge off that mana. Watery Grave. No priest is going to reanimate the hoof. And that might just be lethal. Oh, there it is! Sidisi's like, I didn't get to do anything. Sorry. If only I had a bog! Only I had a bog. Omnath, Locus of the Royal. Hi, Omnath. This Omnath is a landfall commander, and a pretty dang good one. My hand is kind of slow. It's nice that I have the Spelunking and the Thoughtseize. I'm gonna keep this and see what I can get to roll. We can Thoughtseize on turn 2. That's fine with me. Gonna grab some black mana here. Riveteer's Overlook. There we go. So when Omnath enters the battlefield, he deals damage based on the number of elementals they have. But if they don't have many elementals, that doesn't make that much of a difference. Speaking of elementals and landfall, let's take that Ashaya out of their hand, please and thank you. This Ashaya is fantastic with Omnath because it turns all your creatures into lands. And landfall gets you a +1/+1 counter on elemental you control. And once you have enough lands, it also draws you cards. So good. This is a land, sort of. Enough. It says land on it, don't it? Let's go Spelunkin. I will have this enter tapped, which means it enters untapped. Omnath comes into play. They only have one elemental, so they deal 1 damage to my face. Boop. Land enters the battlefield. They get a +1/+1 counter. Perfect. All right. Solo Windgrace. Windswept Heath. Whatever we get, by the way, it will just enter untapped, thanks to our powerful little Spelunky Dory. We click tapped, so it comes in untapped. And then, am I feeling the halfling? I'm feeling halfling and holding up Soul of Windgrace's abilities. A Ricksmith to use. Gets closer to being a 12/12. So our Soul of Windgrace can discard the Polluted Delta to gain 3 life, draw a card, or become indestructible. Probably just going for card draw. A land. That gets them 2 triggers. Are they at 8 yet? No, they're at 6 lands. If this Erixmathes becomes untapped this turn, I may want to just Blood on the Snow, because I can also make Soul of Windgrace indestructible and then blast the board. Settle the Wilds. They've got enough. Erixmathes becomes man. They did not remove a counter from Erixmathes. I don't know, that seems kind of sus to me. I guess to get to 8 lands, that's fine. I will attack with Soul of Windgrace. I'll grab their Riveteer's Overlook. Sure, why not? Gives me a nice little basic. I only have 3 snow here. Use this to grab another snow. Because I can just let this die and come back. That actually gets me more triggers. I like more triggers. Grab the Chasm. Have it enter untapped. Snow on the blood and blood on the snow. Destroy all creatures. Play with 4. Bring back Soul of Windgrace. We'll trigger again. Grab the Overlook. And I'll get Ruddle Tuttle out. Mill the land so we get a treasure. This is Final Fantasy VII music. It's covered by a mariachi band called Mariachi Entertainment System. They're great. You can see, here, I'll jiggle this around up in the top right. You can see it right up there in the top right corner. A Nyx Bloom Ancient. That would be tripling their mana. That's too much mana. Hey. Can you protect it? See if they use this mana for anything. Pass the combat. Trying to get this to go away. Oh, Prismari Command. Okay, they destroy my treasure. I don't have anything to do with it. It is the beach town, yeah. Costa del Sol. Avamaya Coast. Oracle Old Mully Dullies. Not a land on top. Murderous Rider. Nice! They got a Tali! Primal Conqueror! That's gonna get them 2 spells. We already knew what spell was on top for us. That's probably why they played it. Because they could see it from the Oracle. What did they hit? Oh, they hit a baby finale. Yeah, that's too bad. I'm actually very down with Soul of Windgrace dying here, so we can bring it back. The free portal, yup. Oracle, you traitor, showing us the big spells. We also have an Atali in our deck. We just gotta find it. We mill. We draw. Ah, perfect. Alright, so we're gonna use Vraska here. Just sacrifice the blood instead of a land. Sokaj. Artifact. No, wait. Yeah, artifact, creature, land, artifact, creature, land. Beautiful. We want to shuffle, because, I don't really want Elspeth's Nightmare. Infernal Grasp. Okay, cool. I'll protect Vraska. Golgari removal can just be so perfect. They deal 1 damage to Vraska. Then they draw a card. Oh no, it's only their 7th land! They do not draw a card. Tireless Tracker. Ooh, we have a Poq on top, too. Tracker into Soul of Windgrace. Just grab lands, have them come in untapped. Lets us investigate. I'm going to save the Poq for next turn. I'm going to kill Omnathington. Swing in for another 2. How long have I had this the Soul of Windgrace deck? Since around when Dominaria United came out. It's a very, very strong card. Looks like we're gonna win! GG. Rielle, is it Viceroy? This is an Is It Spells commander. And this is a hand with only 2 mana in it. So I'm gonna mulligan. This is a little slow, but still fine. This Brawl is able to deal damage based on a number of instants and sorceries, and has a plus that's essentially card advantage. It puts a spell into your graveyard often enough to fuel the -3, or things like Mizzix's Mastery that let you do big recasts of spells from the graveyard. This being an Is It Spells commander, expect him to have counter spells and burn. A whole lot of it. Oh, hey, Iron Craig. The Craig of Iron. Let's get the spelunking down. Somebody has a counterspell that costs 0 mana. A Pact of Negation. Interesting. Wonder who would ever dare have one of those. Well, you had a really good ramp start so far. See if we can keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. I want to crack this open. I could take their Flooded Strand, I guess, but I don't have any lands in those colors in my deck, which makes it a lot worse. Yes. But coming untapped. Make sure we're tapping you. Great. Is it turn 2 Spelunkin? Yeah, I can play the boots this turn. May as well. Splunking, letting our things come in untapped is just so sweet. Boots, please. They disallow my boots. What are you, some sort of fashion hater? Killing my critters. Fair. I'll use this auto sack land since it will thin my deck a wee bit. Perfect. I'm like looking at this Memorial Tour like, yes, I could. I'm gonna play Primeval Titan this turn. Would you like to counter it? Yeah. Pact of Negation gets used. That's gonna use up their next turn though, since they have to do this. Great. We can go Ancient Green Warden. We can go Soul of Windgrace. Let's go Soul. Thin out some more basics from my deck. I'm going to grab a Swamp. Swamp. Now, I don't think there's many creatures that they have. I'm still gonna hold the Infernal Grasp. Soul of Windgrace. Swinging in. So got lots of basics. I like that this gains me a life. Conduit of Worlds. Lets me play lands from my graveyard. More of that Riveteer's Overlook. And this gives me enough mana to hold open either the Windgrace ability or destroying one of their lands. That Memorial of the War is ready. They already used the Disallow, so let's see if this resolves. I'll go for their Volatile Fjord. Memorial of the War comes back. It even comes in untapped. Command Tower. Discontinuity. Okay. Here's Brawl. Brawl's trying to kill us, so we will discard a land. How about this forest? Become indestructible. We shut them out. We're gonna keep on destroying their lands. Yay, Jund! Soul of Windgrace versus Soul of Windgrace. What's tough about this matchup is that we can take lands from each other's graveyards, which means that things like this are going to be shared between both of us. We'll be grabbing lands, taking them back, and, you know, passing them back and forth. It's possible that they end up exiling a graveyard if they really feel like they want to, but us going first is pretty good news because it means we can get out Soul of Windgrace bright and early. Hi, Lord Windgrace. This is Avatar. Yep, they've got a fetch land here. I wonder what they're going to fetch. Maybe the Triome? Ah, no, they went for a shock land. They're looking to play something this turn. It's Lotus Cobra. Landfall gets them more mana. That's very fair. By the way, I also have Poq and Oracle of Moldiah in my hand, which are so good. I think I'll grab that Wooded Foothills out of their grave. This will give them more triggers quickly. Oh, yeah, I didn't leave one mana up. Soul of Windgrace goes to the grave. It's fine with me. Let's play this silly mistake of a card that copies our lands. Oh, yep, and they know that it's also a silly mistake of a card. They probably have it in their own deck. Poq is ridiculous. And in a deck like this, doubly ridiculous. GG, Cerno. Orborigmos and Fibblethip is being played by Kaiju Dance Party. That's a viewer in my channel. I wonder if they're here. I'm going to hope that they, you know, minimize my stream. I've had a turn 1 Inquisition of Kozilek here. Some other goodies, but I want to make sure I have all of my colors of mana. And this hand gets me there. Let me hit them with a hay. This is my hay. Alright, they played a tapped land. We'll sacrifice our Polluted Delta and use it to grab the Zeator's Proving Ground. It's Triome. I'll just throw down Bloodstained Mire. If there's a creature for me to make them sacrifice, we'll make them sacrifice it. Otherwise, I'll use this to grab land that would otherwise enter the battlefield tapped. Just so I'm getting it out of my deck and getting lots of good fixing. Like, we have the Snow Duel lands in here. Woodland Chasm, a perfect choice. Bringing out Liliana. And plussing. By the way, their commander, Borborygmos and Fubblthup, is a big, sweet cutie. Just look at him. It's actually two cuties. They each have one eye, and they use those eyes together to draw cards and discard cards, and they all happen to be lands. We're kind of doing something just like Windgrace out here. Elvish Mystic. Time to use another plus here.
You won't be outsmarting me.
Failed to get another land, but maybe the Elvish Mystic will protect me here. Get me up to 4 so I can use Soul of Windgrace. Start grabbing more pieces. Ooh, the Ramen Up Excavator! You know how I've been putting lands in their graveyard? They also want to put lands in their graveyard, so this works out. I'll make them sacrifice the Excavator. The one Borborygmos and Fubblthup enjoyer. There's others. Probably. I could get their Flooded Strand only if they sacrifice it first. I could take their island, or I could take one of these. I'll take an island. This is mine now. And I'm getting Liliana now up to ult.
Drop it.
Even though I'm dropping really great cards here. Liliana's ultimate ability, their -6, forces your opponent to sacrifice half their permanents. Of their choosing, sort of. You put them in 2 piles, and you're like, do you choose pile A or pile B? And it's that pile that gets sacrificed. I know, it's very confusing. That's not the pile you keep, that's the pile you sacrifice. One of those things that the Arena UI doesn't make super clear, so a lot of people die to it. Alright, Bjorna and Fibble. They're coming out. Can this hit any target? Only creatures. Yep, unfortunately, that means that Liliana's going to ult. I'll leave them with, like, the choice between maybe 2 lands and a Borbor and everything else, and yeah, that's game. On the back of a Planeswalker. I'm getting real sick and tired against matching against this Poq. I think about a third of our games now are Poq. Whatever. You know what? Let's beat up Poq. It's all I get is Myth Weaver Poq. All I've ever known is Poq. Have a halfling. I got turn 1 ramp. They didn't... That's good for me. Turn 2 Nissa. She's also, in a way, ramp. Nice Nissa, nice Nissa. Cabaret Courtyard's going to get me 2 landfall triggers here. Take a look at what's in their hand. Nothing. It's all big stuff. Get another 2 landfall triggers. Use it for the Paradise Druid. I'll attack with Nissa, offer them a trade in these trying times. No Nissas for nobodies. You could Pithing Needle a Poq, it wouldn't stop anything. Nice 1 ring. It would be a shame if couldn't draw any cards off it. A Pithing Needle would stop an activated ability. This is a triggered ability. up, Poq? Oh, heck yeah! Give me the sword of funge and whatever. Sort of fun times and friendship. Just keep getting basics out of my deck. It's great. Can't block this. You can block one of these. The Sword of Mountain Dew and Doritos. Mm-hmm. Oh, Rattle Tuttle. I'm going to move this sword over onto old Ruddle Tuttle so he could block the Poq. They're saying Harrow to Harrow. That is going to sacrifice one land and get them 4 untapped lands, which then can lead into, I don't know, Invasion of Zendikar, or maybe Storm the Festival, or what the other cards are in their hands. Feasting Troll King! They make food, and it can come back. One moment. Got too many ding-dang lands. An edict. Get rid of one of those. This is a lot more damage, so I will swing it with Windgrace. Soul of. I'll grab that sacrificed forest from their graveyard. We hit. What do we get? Maelstrom Pulse and a Signet. We can do both. Get you a girl. We can do both. I like the idea of attacking the food so they can't bring back the Troll King. It's cute. Unnecessary, but cute. They're bringing out Poq. By the way, this is actually an instant speed ability, but it's only on your turn. Now, what's worth more to you? An extra blocker or eating a food? Losing the game. Alright, well, so long as we're matching up against a million Poqs, at least we're beating a lot of them. Good game. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. I hope you liked watching me play Soul of Windgrace. If you're looking for the deck list, it's in the description of the video. And if you want to come hang out with me live, come on over to twitch.tv/Amazonian, where I'm streaming almost every single day. Also, if you have a suggestion for a deck you'd like to see me revisit, or a new brew you'd like to see, let me know in the comments, or just leave me a comment, because it's good for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching, and have a brawlful day.